So this is the Roco TT120 turntable, and it's a motorised and indexing turntable. So it will drive round and latch at the next point around the ring. There's potential of 24 exits, comes with 6 in the pack, and you can expand it by purchasing packs of 3 additional ones. So around the ring you'll see little stubs with a flat-headed screwdriver. You can push that in and pull the unit out. So they're quite sturdy, so push in on the centre there and pull it up. I've done that off camera because it needs 2 hands to do it, and then you can put in another segment like that. Get that out of the way, put this one back in, and it goes in quite firmly. It's also handy to leave a couple of segments across from each other, so what you can do is pull them out, rotate the bridge to the open slots, and it will allow you then to remove the bridge. The bridge is got an E-clip under this panel here, so you can disconnect the bridge for servicing. So when you're designing your layout, if you leave 2 segments across from each other blank, it will make it easier for servicing. Have a quick look at the track. So it is standard TT scale track, and what I've done here with a piece of Hornby TT track is just slide it in with the fish plates, and it's exactly the same size and spacing, so there's no need to modify it to use it with Hornby and Pico TT track. So when you're setting up, there are instructions in the box. There's also a correction sheet, so this reveals a bit of the history of this turntable. It's actually one designed for N-gauge, and on the N-gauge one you had 48 outlets. The TT one, they're using 2 spaces for each outlet, so they've redesigned the indexing mechanism and the outlets to allow it to drive on TT. They've also rewired it since the original manuals were printed, so they've done a correction sheet which shows the different colours used on the turntable wiring loom, which are these 5 wires. Black and brown are to the track on the bridge, and then red, orange and yellow are to the controller switch. Yellow goes to yellow, orange goes to grey, red goes to red. So I guess they just couldn't find a loom that had the grey wire built in. All this is stuff that comes out of the common electronics industry, I guess. The switch is designed to be powered by 15 volts AC. So I've got a separate transformer here, but the quite a number of controllers actually have an accessory outlet with 15 volt AC. So things like the Gauge Master Model D has an outlet, the little Combi has an outlet actually as well. And obviously a lot of the Roco and Fleischmann controllers out there have an accessory outlet. So AC power comes into the switch then rectifies it to drive the motor. The switch is quite cunning. It's shaped like a turntable. You've got hut and opposite end, so that symbol there signifies the hut end. Just while we're in here, there's also some little signals that plug in there. Right, so there are 2 positions on here. And what you'll see is you've got red and green markers as well. So the way the turntable is designed is that there are tiny little insulation gaps here and here. And on an analog layout where I've got this lined up through, what the bridge is doing is providing power to both ends. So without these insulation gaps, if you had a train shedded here and another train shedded here, when you went to drive, both would drive because they're both being powered through the bridge. Except they get round this by having these insulation gaps and a little relay inside. So when you position it here, the power comes out at this end and it's isolated at this end. And when you position here, this end is unpowered, this end is powered. So you can drive in from this lane will remain isolated. So that's why you've got the two positions on the switch. You've got power to the hut end, power to the non-hut end. And you can hear the relay clicking over. So we've also got turn clockwise and turn anti-clockwise. If you want to go a few segments over, just hold it. And while you hold it, it goes, and then we release it, it will drop into the next index position. So if I do that again, hold the switch, now release, and it will stop there. If you just do one click, it will just drive to the next segment, and you can just segment at a time or hold it and then release when you're approaching. So it's all very clever. So we've got a Hornby TT Pacific on there, just to show that large locos do fit. Let's draw it back. Go, right. So you may have noticed a lever down here, and that is a manual. Manually engages the motor and it will turn in the last direction that the switch was set. So if you're out working on the layout and want to set something up, you've got manual engagement, and you've also got manual disengagement of the whole mechanism. So if I pull it towards the centre of the turntable, it pulls the motor cartridge away from the wall, allowing you to rotate the turntable. Just make sure that it lines up with the middle of a segment when you re-engage it, otherwise you'll find that it doesn't line up with the track, so you can get it a tooth out or a couple of teeth out and it won't line up. The teeth are quite big, so it's fairly easy to line it up with an exit track. You can see the gear teeth around the inner rim of these spare sections. So there we are, that is the Roco TT turntable. Just a small addition, the turntable obviously is delivered set up for DC analog operation. If you want to use it with DCC digital, then the best way to do it is to swap the fish plates around here for all insulating ones, so 2 insulated ones on each exit, and then the track power will be fed into a reverse loop module like this. This is the length LK200. And what this does is flip the polarity of the bridge as it goes through 180 degrees. The left track becomes the right track effectively when you're rotating on a turntable. That's not a problem on DC because you've got the controller off. However, on DCC the track is always live. So a reverse loop module will allow you to turn the loco powered up, so lights and sound and everything can still be on while it's turning, and this module will automatically flip the polarity as the turntable swings through 180 degrees and effectively reverses the polarity on the rails on the bridge. So it is important just to remember that the section controlled by the reverse loop module is entirely insulated from the rest of the layout, so double insulated plastic joiners all the way round the turntable.